The roads crisscrossing your city are more than a means of transport. By connecting citizens to their work, families, and communities, they are the veins and arteries of your city's beating heart. Every pathway you carve out shapes the routine every day and opens the door to the extraordinary events that define their lives. City building starts with roads. Roads allow people, goods, and services to move through your city, of course. And in city skylines too, all roads except for highways automatically carries water, electricity, and sewage lines. It's a shortcut that lets you focus on what you love about city building sooner. You'll construct and refine your road network using road tools. They're easy to learn and flexible, inviting you to follow your creative impulses. Returning players will welcome upgrades to the road tools that introduce several of the most wished-for features. Other features are totally new. Use the road tools to create seamless city blocks in just 3 clicks. In no time, you'll lay long, beautiful stretches of road to link lively residential and industrial districts to your buzzing city center. Just like that, you'll thread traffic along wide, curving streets and elegant, elevated highways. You'll even add bridges and tunnels in only a few clicks. Intersections have been overhauled in city skylines too. Placement rules are less restrictive, and you can use pre-made intersections on new and existing roads. You can also add roundabouts. Yep, they're here. From gentle suburban roundabouts to roaring multi-lane roundabouts, it's never been easier to engineer uninterrupted streams of traffic. That's because roads will be configured automatically, so vehicles can enter and exit the roundabout safely. Simply drop your preferred roundabout over an existing intersection and ta-da! A whole new way to move people, goods, and services through your city. Decide the direction of traffic and how it flows by placing traffic lights, crosswalks, and directional no-turn traffic signs and stop signs. Erect sound barriers and construct parking lots. That's another new feature in City Skyline 2. And for returning players, it means Christmas has come early. You can even add decorative touches if you want to. They don't just make your city pretty, they can be useful too. So those trees you use to line sidewalks? Add charm and reduce noise pollution. Of course, building a city is a process of exploration and experimentation. You'll try stuff out. Some of it you'll like, and some you won't. Want to change an existing road? Use the new Replace tool. It's like the old Upgrade tool, but with more freedom to refine your road network. Change your mind about a road? Bulldoze tool to the rescue. Click, 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 and that road is a thing of the past. Road building is more intuitive and nuanced in City Skylines 2, and every pathway has a far-reaching impact. Build your city's roads as a testament to your ambition and a promise to citizens that anything is possible. People are the lifeblood of your city. As they move through it, they set the city's pulse. Not in the cold rhythms of code, but with the variability and pace of a real city. So you should expect the same order and chaos that emerges when countless individual decisions are made all at once. It's a level of vibrant realism you've never seen before, and it's powered by the deep simulation of traffic AI. How people move from A to B in your city is called pathfinding. Previously, pathfinding meant choosing the shortest route by distance, but ignoring factors like travel time and traffic congestion was less than ideal. Pathfinding has changed. In City Skylines 2, 4 main factors influence how people move through your city. These factors are called pathfinding costs. People weigh up these costs to decide where to go and how to get there. The path with the lowest cost is the path they choose. But how people weigh up these costs is very different. To help you understand, let's walk through the 4 pathfinding costs. Time is usually the most important pathfinding cost. Everyone will pick their quickest route to their destination if they can. Comfort is another pathfinding cost. Who doesn't want a smooth journey? Wouldn't you avoid tricky intersections if you could? The availability, convenience, and cost of parking will now impact where people choose to go and how to get there. easy parking is actually the deciding factor for some people when choosing where to socialize and spend their money. That's another pathfinding cost: money. Fuel, parking, and public transport tickets can seriously add up. So it's a factor in where people choose to go and how they get there. The final factor influencing pathfinding is behavior, or how likely people are to engage in risky maneuvers on the road. U-turns, lane hopping, and speeding can reduce travel times, lower fuel consumption, and avoid some of the inconvenient aspects of travel. To keep pathfinding costs low, people will reroute if something happens on their journey. For example, if they get caught behind a traffic accident that takes too long to clear, they'll find another way to get where they're going. Hang on. Traffic accidents? Afraid so. Drivers can lose control and crash their vehicles into traffic and buildings. Yikes. You see, things like wet roads, extreme weather events, and the time of day can increase the risk of a collision. But it's actually poor road conditions that should keep you awake at night. Want to reduce the risk of serious mishaps? Send your road maintenance crew out ASAP. Traffic AI has improved pathfinding so much that you can now grow a larger population. But remember, a big population brings opportunities and challenges. 2 info views can help you plan and react when life takes a left turn. Traffic Info View takes the guesswork out of traffic management. It delivers a real-time overview of how much traffic is on your road network and traffic, so you can resolve problems quickly. Deep simulation transforms the movement of people, goods, and services through your city into the pulsing reality of a living, breathing city. But how people choose their path? That is always a response to the world around them. A world of your creation. Transport networks set the rhythm of life in your city. As they move people and cargo, they can create harmony and discord. This finely tuned orchestra of ships, vehicles, planes, and trains is yours to conduct. To create a thriving metropolis, maintain a steady beat to keep your city in motion. You build a city from scratch in City Skylines 2. No public transport, no tracks, no runways. Creating these and other transportation networks is a crucial first step. After that, improving and integrating them paves the way for expansion. When you establish your city, citizens can take the bus or a taxi to get where they're going. These are the first transport options you'll unlock. They're reliable, cheap, and easy to route here, there, and everywhere. Traffic conditions are their Achilles heel. It's no big deal in a new metropolis, but it is for a growing city. That's when you'll level up your public transport. Think trains, trams, and subways. Each one has pros and cons. They're all expensive to build and complicated, requiring depots, tracks, and stops where passengers can buy tickets and get on and off. That means they can't offer the far-reaching service of a bus line or the door-to-door service of a taxi. On the other hand, they're more efficient, not least because they carry more people and cargo and reduce road congestion. Let's start with subways. They're fast, high capacity, and they take up very little room when they're underground. If they operate above ground, you can run them on elevated tracks so they don't get tangled up with road traffic. Trams. They're more flexible than trains, so you can more easily add lines to service new and expanded neighborhoods. Build tram tracks on existing roads, or run them on dedicated tracks if that's the best way to keep the hustle and bustle dialed up. Trains carry loads of people too, and not just suburbanites. They can bring visitors from outside your city in large numbers. Trains play another critical role as cargo transport. Build a cargo train terminal, and you build a hub where businesses can receive, ship, and store incoming and outgoing goods. Water transportation is another option for passenger travel and moving cargo. It's another high-capacity network, though water transport's real potential lies in imports and exports. You see, cargo ships might be slower than trains, but these bad boys can carry 1,000 tons of stuff to and from your city. Yeah, that's right. You can trade with other cities. So you'll need somewhere to house all the goods and resources coming and going. Easy. Like cargo train terminals, cargo harbors double as cargo storage facilities. Like all of the other networks, air transportation has drawbacks. Planes carry fewer passengers and less cargo than ships and trains. Airports are also astronomically expensive and have the footprint of a small town. However, air transport has a pretty irresistible advantage: speed. Plus, planes won't add to road congestion, they don't follow a rigid track, and they make outside connections incredibly easy. The transport mix in your city will become complex and intricate. Use the transportation overview to review passenger and cargo transportation networks separately. Filter again by transport type to see high-level details about individual lines and toggle them on or off. Use the transportation info view to understand the impact of your networks. Plan and manage transportation networks carefully to find the right tempo for the movement of people and cargo. Conduct it perfectly, and every citizen, trader, and tourist will march your city toward greatness. Every decision you make weaves a thread into the fabric of your city. But don't for a second imagine a smooth, seamless surface. Cities don't work like that. Instead, it's an urban patchwork marked by the realities of life and living. You'll create and stitch it together with zoning. Zoning lets you decide where people live and work. You create these residential, commercial, and industrial zones with zoning tools. They work in a couple of different ways. Click and drag over cells on the map to zone large rectangular areas. Zone all adjacent cells with one click. Or get granular, zoning a neighborhood cell by cell. When you establish a city, you choose a map. The map's theme dictates if your city's buildings will have a North American or European architectural style. You can now use zoning tools to mix it up. Go on, sprinkle a little North American flair into your European city, or vice versa. Okay, you know how zoning tools work, but what can you zone? Well, let's start with residential zones. The places and spaces where citizens relax with friends, raise families, and rest their heads night after night. There are now 6 residential zone types. 2 will be familiar: low-density housing, detached houses for single families, and high-density housing, tall towers packed with residents. New zoning types include medium-density row housing and medium-density apartment buildings. There's low-rent housing now, too. Huge apartment buildings with tiny apartments. Finally, there's mixed housing. Here, residents live in apartments above ground floor shops. Mixed housing adds next-level realism because homes and shops rub elbows like most real-world city centers. Ready to talk business? You'll create dedicated commercial zones where companies sell the locally produced and imported goods people need and want. Your commercial zones are also where citizens and tourists eat out, catch the latest blockbuster, and dance until dawn. You'll establish industrial zones with factories, workshops, and warehouses where businesses can store goods ready for distribution or export. You'll also develop office zones. Here you'll find small, low-density buildings with only a few businesses in operation. You'll also get the glittering, high-density towers that define your city's silhouette in the sky. Growing your city and zoning go hand in hand. Here's an example. You zone residential areas that boost the population, and with it, the demand for jobs. You respond by creating an industrial zone with factories where people get to work. Now, these factories produce goods, but they won't stay in business long without somewhere to sell them. You solve that problem by expanding commercial zones. You see? Each zone helps create the momentum you need to realize the city of your dreams. And it wouldn't be the city of your dreams without signature buildings. These are unique residential, commercial, industrial, and office buildings that you unlock as your city expands. They're free to build, and you can plop them anywhere. Plop. It's city skylines lingo. Go on, say it. Plop. What's so special about signature buildings? Well, they function like any zoned building. A home for people, a warehouse for industry, an office for workers. But they can elevate the neighborhood in unique ways. Signature buildings can also bring citywide benefits, Zone and place your signature buildings carefully so each city district flourishes and plays its part in the success of the whole city. Life's rich tapestry has never been richer than in City Skylines 2. Successful city building in City Skylines 2 is all about people, anticipating their needs and desires, ensuring they feel safe and actually keeping them safe, understanding what annoys and delights them, and doing what it takes to give them healthy, happy lives from beginning to end. How? City services. You'll build clinics and hospitals to deliver healthcare, plus the ambulance service people need in life or death situations. Oh, yeah, sometimes it will be a death situation. So you'll add death care services that transport people to the city's crematoriums and cemeteries. You'll set up schools for kids of all ages, plus colleges and universities. After all, education fosters social advancement. Life still might take a turn for the worse for some people. When it does, you'll want the safety net of a welfare office. One thing that improves everyone's well-being, no matter what's going on in life, is time outdoors. You'll create parks, plazas, attractions, and landmarks that make people living nearby happier and healthier. As in real life, safety first is a good mantra in City Skylines 2. So you'll want various fire and rescue services. Just adding a firehouse reduces the likelihood of a blaze in the neighborhood. Same with police stations. Build them and send patrols out onto the streets to cut crime. Communications is a new city service in City Skylines 2, helping you meet more essential needs. That includes the internet. Naturally, the easier it is to connect to the web, the happier everyone will feel and the more profitable the city's businesses will be. Of course, everyone relies on electricity, so you want to avoid long outages. They aren't just aggravating. Blackouts will prompt people to move out and force businesses to pause production, putting profits at risk. Keep electricity lines humming with sustainable energy sources like wind, solar, geothermal, and hydropower. Go old school with fossil fuels like coal and gas. There's always the nuclear option too. This is the most realistic city builder ever. So you'll need to deal with a lot of stuff. We're talking sewage. Gross? Yes. Necessary? Also yes. With a wastewater treatment plant, you can purify sewage and circulate water into your city's freshwater network. Or you can pump sewage into open waters and out of the network. Don't forget to stay on top of garbage. Garbage processing centers, landfills, and an incineration plant will stop it piling up. But don't take shortcuts. Air and water pollution can sink land values, harm the health of residents, and tarnish the city's appeal to tourists. Ready to introduce a city service? Previously, you only had to construct a city service building. When that service needed to cover a larger area or support more people, you simply constructed the same building again. Not anymore. Almost all city services can now be upgraded to scale operations and expand functionality. While city services make your city livable, they come at a cost. Balancing these costs and the very real needs of everyone in your city is the name of the game. Subscribe to the City Skylines 2 YouTube channel for updates and more feature highlights. To understand the basic needs of your citizens, you need only look in the mirror. Like you and me, there are a few important things they need to live healthy, happy lives. That includes electricity, water, and sanitation. With these systems in place, everyone in your city has a shot at living their best life. Let's take a look at electricity. When laying roads, you also install low-voltage underground cables that supply electricity to homes, offices, and shops. These cables plug into transformer stations. Transformer stations are also connected to the high-voltage power lines streaming from your city's power plants. They act as a junction where low-voltage cables and high-voltage lines link up. Together, they form the grid that pumps electricity right across your city. There's one drawback. Power lines and electric cables can only carry so much electricity. When demand increases, they can max out, creating a bottleneck. Keep the grid humming by evenly spreading electricity connections around your city. You can also build power lines to import electricity from neighboring cities. Imported energy will save your bacon if local power plants fail to produce enough electricity when demand increases. It will, too. Expect spikes when the thermostat drops and everyone dials up their heaters. Hot weather will cause spikes too, as people flick on air conditioners, fans, and ice machines at the same time. Your power plants might produce more electricity than your city needs. When that happens, you can export it to your neighbors. While this can offset production costs, think it through. By storing excess electricity in emergency battery stations, you have nothing to worry about when demand rises. Emergency battery stations help your city get the most out of solar power plants. Battery stations power the city at night when the plant isn't producing electricity and recharge when they operate during the day. Of course, solar is just one renewable energy source. You can build wind, water, and geothermal power plants too. Fossil fuels are another way to power your city. Or you can go nuclear. Let's talk water and sanitation. Surface water sources are the same as in city skylines. Expect flowing rivers, glittering lakes, and vast, swirling oceans. Groundwater is different. These underground reservoirs replenish over time, so they can run dry if they're drained at a faster rate than they're refilled. They're also susceptible to ground pollution. When they're contaminated, dirty water is pumped into your city's freshwater system. That's bad on every level, mainly because decontamination takes a long time. Build a groundwater pumping station to tap this resource, and a water pumping station to bring surface water into your city's water system. You can also add water to the system with wastewater treatment plants. These plants can process sewage to produce clean water for homes and businesses. There's another way to manage sewage: sewage outlets. They release waste into open water, which can help prevent sewage from backing up. And that's a must when it comes to public health. Bungling waste management can make people seriously ill. That's why you want to keep sewage outlets well away from pumping stations. How can you balance the very human needs of citizens with your ambition as a city builder? It's simple. Imagine living your life down there, day in and day out. It's easy to forget how much our day-to-day is shaped by where we live. But how our world looks, feels, and changes sets the scene for our lived experience. It's the same for the people in your city. And in City Skylines too, the world is a whole lot bigger. You can now build on an area 5 times bigger than before, equivalent to 159 square kilometers. That's bigger than some countries. Maps are composed of individual tiles. Connect them to create a sweeping urban jungle, or don't connect them to develop interesting little pockets of life. You can unlock 441 tiles on each map, but you'll have 9 to work with when you begin your city building. Reach milestones to unlock more. When you do, choose tiles that best serve your expansion plans. Before you click, preview the total buildable area, what natural resources are available, and the cost of that tile. The expanded map inspires you to think big, but remember to think up. Height limits have increased too, freeing you to carve a city higher in the sky than ever before. Building on this scale also invites you to think outside of the box, literally. Create connections to cities beyond the edge of your map to open up trade routes that can accelerate your city's growth. Before you select a map, look at where it sits on the globe. Is it north or south of the equator? And which hemisphere is it in? Check out how much of the map can be built on, which natural resources it has, and what, if any, connections already exist to neighboring cities. Found a map you like? Click and give your city a name. This is also your chance to change the default theme if you want to. There are 2 themes, European and North American. Themes shape the look and feel of your city, from street markings to cop cars. The biggest difference is the architectural style of residential and commercial buildings. You can add buildings from the other theme when zoning your city. This lets you pepper European buildings in your North American city, and vice versa. Still, the theme you choose dominates the appearance of your city, and it can't be changed later. There are 10 maps in the base game, each drawing inspiration from real-world locations. You might even recognize them. And with the vast area available on the new expanded maps, terrains are more varied, resources are more accessible, and there are more ways to connect to other cities. You'll discover maps where life is lived on the sandy beaches of a sprawling archipelago. Maps that invite you to build at high altitudes with a mountainside map or along the winding waters of a rich river delta. There might even be a map that looks like the world outside your window. Select the map that stirs your imagination to set the stage for life and living in the city of your dreams. Life in a thriving city can be a whirlwind. Sunny moments of joy and laughter can cloud over as stormier times roll in. It's impossible to forecast. Luckily, the weather in your city will be more predictable, as each map has a unique climate with reliable seasonal patterns. Maps in City Skylines 2 are inspired by real-world locations, so your city's climate will be unique to that place. The climate dictates how each of the 4 seasons looks and feels. As one season gives way to the next, the length of the day will change. The amount of sunshine and cloud cover will too. Temperatures will vary, and so will precipitation. Why is this so important? Well, weather will impact your city in different ways. Rainy, snowy, and sun-soaked days can pile pressure on your electricity grid. Same for city services, which will need to respond. Like in winter, road maintenance crews power up plows to clear the road network of snow before it causes collisions. If city services don't respond in time or do what needs to be done, accident rates can rise with the knock-on effect of overstretching emergency crews. Seasonal weather also affects how people move around your city and where they spend their time. Parks will draw crowds when the sun is out, while restaurants, movie theaters, and other indoor spots will get busy fast when it rains. Of course, extreme seasonal weather can turn life upside down in a flash. You can help your city prepare for natural disasters with disaster control systems, but there's no stopping them. Your city might experience disasters with a lowercase d. That's when disasters cause traffic accidents that clog road networks. Disasters with a capital D are a whole lot more serious. They impact city services and the local economy in the short and long term. As a city builder, it's up to you to help your city bounce back when nature is a bit extra. But for the most part, seasonal changes will be predictable. Winter will run its course and give way to spring, just as night will follow day. The day and night cycle connects to the calendar. When a day-night cycle ends, one calendar month will have passed. So every 24 hours, a month of the year will have come and gone. The seasons will change after 3 cycles. And after 12 cycles, it's time to start all over again. The citizens of your city will experience life's highs and lows like the shifting seasons. Good times and bad will come and go. By building your city's unique climate, you can create the backdrop for life lived to its fullest. They say money makes the world go round. It's as true in City Skylines 2 as it is in our world. Keep your city spinning by steering its economy on a course to prosperity. Your city's economic simulation is modeled on real-world economics. This introduces complexity and nuance to city building without making it complicated. The economic system in City Skylines 2 is actually engineered to help you grow your new city, and as it develops, to give you influence over the financial levers that generate wealth. You'll raise revenue by taxing the sale of goods and services, energy production, the extraction of raw materials, tourism, and more. You'll also tax private incomes, as healthy economic activity will mean jobs for citizens. With money in your city's coffers, you can invest in city services and infrastructure, schools and universities, and all the other engines of urban development. An important aspect of economic growth is balancing supply and demand. Businesses will do this automatically, exporting their goods when they produce more than the market wants. However, this can hit their bottom line as transport costs can reduce profitability. To keep the rate of production in line with demand, businesses will even fire employees. On the flip side, when products aren't made fast enough to meet local demand, companies in your city will be forced to buy from expensive outside connections, and that can quickly eat into profits too. Taxes can also influence the production rate of specific goods. You can slow the rate of production by raising taxes, lower taxes to accelerate production rates in more similar manufacturers to your city. It's also possible to motivate businesses to specialize in ways that strengthen the economy. Imagine reducing taxes for furniture stores and the various industries that manufacture their products. That will make them more profitable. More businesses specializing in the design and manufacture of furniture will crop up. Before you know it, your city will have a flourishing furniture trade and a reputation that keeps cash flowing in. Managing and adjusting production chains is another way you can influence your city's economy. Overhauled in City Skylines 2, this adds a whole new dimension to city building. There's no need to micromanage every detail if you don't want to. But if you love a puzzle, there's almost no limit to how deep you can go. Starting from raw material extraction, you can get raw materials into the city by importing them or producing them locally. Opt for local production, and you'll need to establish a specialized industry area. There are 9 total. 4 are farms where you can raise livestock or grow either grain, vegetables, or cotton. Forests produce timber, though how much depends on the age of the forest. You can extract ore, stone, or coal from underground deposits. And lastly, you can drill for oil. You'll manage all this activity via the Economy panel. It puts your city's finances at a glance and allows you to monitor and adjust production outputs for various goods and materials. With integrated tools and clear displays, the Economy panel is a user-friendly way to manage and grow your economy. So, if money really does make the world turn, how will you grow your city's economy so everyone in it can enjoy the ride? City building is a journey led by your creativity and ambition. So the decisions you make along the way reflect who you are. To help you build a city that's true to you, City Skylines 2 puts 20 milestones packed with rewards directly in your path. When you unlock a milestone, you're rewarded expansion permits. Expansion permits allow you to quickly add new map tiles to your city. But this isn't just about real estate. Use expansion permits to release tiles with the specific attributes you need to see your plans through. Milestones also reward you with development points. You need development points to add city services, the bedrock of a functioning metropolis. But just adding them isn't enough. The needs of citizens will change as the city expands, so you'll need to keep developing city services to keep pace. Your development points make it happen. The city services you choose to add, how you develop them, and just how advanced you make them all make a big impact on the character of your city. This is how it works. Each city service has a development tree. The nodes on the development tree are more and more advanced buildings that level up the city service in a specific way. As you unlock these nodes, that city service becomes more sophisticated and specialized. When you first add a city service, you're at the base of the development tree, so you get the basics. Like when you add the city service public transportation, you get buses and taxis. Basic stuff. Spend development points to unlock nodes further along the development tree. In this case, you might invest in trains to move more people more efficiently. Or you might go in a totally new direction by taking to the skies. It's all up to you. Remember, the further you go along a development tree, the more development points you'll need to cough up, and they don't exactly rain from the sky. You might not add a city service at all, or you might not develop it very much. Others, you'll take all the way. Once you add a city service and unlock nodes on its development tree using development points, it's time to open your wallet. To actually pay for the construction of city service buildings, building extensions, and operational upgrades, you need cash. Don't worry, you can cover it with the monetary rewards you get when you unlock each milestone. By now, you're probably asking, how do I unlock milestones? It's all about expansion points, or XP. You'll rack up XP passively and actively. Passive XP are awarded up to 16 times during each in-game day. They're awarded as your city's population and the happiness level of that population increases. That's why smooth-running cities that foster the well-being of citizens make steady progress toward the next milestone. Active XP are doled out right when you make bold investments in your city. Watch them rack up when you plop a signature building or invest in core infrastructure like the city's road network. In City Skylines 2, milestone rewards empower you to unleash your creativity and ambition on the path to building a city that only you can. You might think that city building is all about glass and steel, bricks and mortar, tarmac, smokestacks, and iron tracks. But it's also about joy and laughter, sadness and tears, struggles, triumphs, even love. That's because city building is about people. While the behavior of your city's citizens is rooted in deep simulation, they aren't guided by ones and zeros. They follow very real human impulses on their life path. A life path encompasses major events that shape their lives. It starts with being born in or moving to your city. Everything after that, from their first day of school to college graduation, their first big promotion to retirement, their nervous first date to tying the knot, is just another step on their life path. Most days will be uneventful. Citizens will follow a routine of attending school, working, and spending free time with friends and family. But like the rest of us, they'll have good days and bad. Citizens can fall ill, suffer accidents, lose their job and become homeless, commit crimes and face the consequences. On the flip side, citizens reap the benefits when your city thrives. These happy citizens stay and contribute as they get older, until it's their time to line up at heaven's pearly gates. Happiness is something you can actually measure in City Skylines 2. It's a score that tallies an individual's health and well-being. You can track happiness on each citizen's information panel. View the panel for their household to learn what's contributing or detracting from their collective happiness. Get the basics right, and citizens will basically be happy. Ensure they have a reliable electricity supply, clean water, decent plumbing, and regular garbage collection. Minimize ground, air, and noise pollution. Keep a lid on crime so citizens feel safe. High-speed internet is pretty much a must-have, and so is a suitable home. Families need space, so they'll benefit from living in larger homes in low-density areas where kids can roam freely. Small apartments are best for singles and students who want low rents in busy areas where they can go out and socialize. Healthcare is non-negotiable. Without it, citizens can die from illness and injuries. Even with good sanitation and low pollution, citizens need medical facilities near enough to travel on their own steam or by ambulance for routine care. This is especially important for your city's elderly population, whose health won't always be tip-top. Seniors are actually in the last of the 4 life stages your citizens will experience. They might even live in a multi-generational home with citizens in the other life stages, including children, teens, and adults. And look out for 4-legged family members too. Keep your finger on the pulse of what's happening with your citizens by viewing their Life Path Journal. It records everything that happens to them from the moment you click follow. It'll show you personal details, their happiness score, and their Chirper feed. Oh, and one more thing, Chirper is back. Expanded and better integrated, Chirper now gives citizens a voice. They'll talk about what's going on in their lives and what's happening in the city. If their chirps get likes, you know just how important that topic is to them and other citizens. This can be helpful when they chirp to complain about underperforming city services and applaud their excellent work. When it comes to the health, well-being, and happiness of your citizens, think quality, not quantity. By creating places, spaces, and experiences that enrich their lives, you'll discover what city building is all about. The sounds of the city. Inspiring, exciting, annoying. In City Skylines 2, a rich and dynamic soundscape brings your city to life. What would a city be without the hum of traffic and people? To ratchet up the realism of City Skylines 2, vehicles, people, and animals add to the audio mix. Cars even sound different depending on how fast they're going, while sirens match the European or North American theme of your city. Click on a person and you'll hear an audio cue that expresses their age, gender, and mood. Even animals will have something to say when you click. Almost all city service buildings have sounds related to their function and operational status. These sounds can change with the time of the day, the outside temperature, and when it's extended or upgraded. By layering sound loops with distinctive audio spots, city service buildings add variation and texture to the city's soundscape. Ambient sounds are more than background audio. They follow the camera, changing according to whatever you're looking at. Move from one zone type to another, the ambient sounds change. When bad weather blows in, the ambient sounds change. As an emergency unfolds, the ambient sounds change. There are 2 radio networks in City Skylines 2. Each network features a few stations playing music from different genres. Stations have hosts who talk between songs and anchor the talk show if there is one. Public citizen radio stations mostly play classical music, but there's a little pop in there too. The best part is these stations are ad-free. Radio stations do more than entertain you. They're designed to deliver news and information about what's happening in your city. These fact-based announcements can help you address critical situations before they get out of hand. Of course, that includes disaster alerts. Whatever's playing on the radio will be interrupted if disaster strikes.
All citizens in the affected area are instructed to immediately move to a safe distance until the situation is under control.
Don't worry if you miss it. You'll also hear an alarm if you've built an early disaster warning system building. To avoid overwhelming you with too many sounds at once, City Skylines 2 uses audio grouping. This system accounts for the distance and number of sound sources relative to the camera. Then it reduces the number of potential audio sources activating simultaneously. It also switches between close and distant sounds, so traffic on a busy highway miles away doesn't sound as close as that police cruiser speeding past. The immersive audio of City Skylines 2 is designed to enrich your city building experience. Embrace it and lose yourself in a world of your imagination. Modesty is a virtue, and it's totally overrated. Unveil the beauty of your city with the revamped photo mode in City Skylines 2. It's powerful, dynamic, and user-friendly, so there's almost no limit to how creative you can be when capturing the magnificence of your city and sharing it for all the world to see and celebrate. With one click of the photo mode button, you can access 2 image capture modes, free camera and cinematic. Use free camera mode to take eye-popping stills. Toggle to cinematic mode to unleash the filmmaker inside. There are all kinds of camera property settings to get the shot you're after, including adjustments to the camera body, camera lens, and aperture shape. Use subsettings to configure them even more, for example with camera collision or focal length. Fine-tune the depth of field, motion blur, bloom, vignette, film grain, and panini projection with settings on the lens tab. Go mad on the color tab. You can transform the vibe of your screenshots by tinkering with the colors, white balance, and brightness. Whatever you do, don't wait around for ideal weather conditions to take your shot. Weather settings let you drench your city in sunshine or draw it under the shadow of stormy skies. Set the distance clouds, volumetric clouds, fog, and atmosphere. Settings on the Environment tab work in a similar way. Change the time of day and set the simulation speed, which is useful when creating videos in cinematic mode. Ready to roll camera? You'll find basic controls for the cinematic camera when you enter cinematic mode. Use them to calibrate camera position controls, which control the position and rotation of the camera, and all those other cool camera properties. You'll also see controls like play and pause to view the playback you created, save for when you want to keep that playback, and reset when you want to start fresh. Wait, hang on. A playback? A playback is a set of points spaced throughout the timeline of your video. Typically, each point has a different camera position and rotation. The video comes together as the camera transitions between them. And as you add points to the timeline with different camera positions and rotations, you can also tweak the transition between them. When you're happy with your playback, record it using any game capture software. That's exactly how we've created this series of feature highlights videos. The best part? You can then share your videos with a global community of city builders who share your passion for testing the limits of what's possible. Your city is unlike any other because it's yours. So go on. Show off a little.